lovelies, how are you today? I hope you're well. I thought I'd just have a little quick catch up with you and excuse my dishevelled state. I've definitely got something. I think I've got a cold, it's simple as that. You know, it's no big deal. But I think on top of the fact that I'm utterly exhausted. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks, relentless weeks of sort of 16, 17, 18-hour days. And today I feel like I've just hit a bit of a wall. So I'm trying to be sensible, hate being sensible, trying to listen to my body, and I'm saying, right, you need to just calm it all down for the day. Can't stop completely because any of you who are self-employed will know there's no such thing as taking a day off or a sick day. But I'm definitely going to just do some sort of quiet, slow things this afternoon. I'm going to plough on with a load more lavender. But I've set my DVD and my screen up because the gorgeous Richard and Paul have given me this. It's their spare box set of Ab Fab. Now, they gave this to me weeks ago and I was going to save it for Christmas. But actually, isn't this the perfect occasion for it when I'm just feeling utterly, utterly below par, not myself. You know, I want to get on with things. I do want to keep being sort of productive and getting through all these jobs that need doing. But I just want to make sure I do it a bit more slowly. So, I've got an itchy nose. Do you know what? I've just got back from the garden. Oh, and I'm in my pinny. So, sorry, I'm a bit all over the place with thoughts this afternoon already. Eek. Now, I think being really honest with myself, I think in the last few weeks I've been a bit slack with food. It's just this kind of busyness and hecticness. Hecticness, is that even a word? But I've probably not been eating as well as I should do or could do. Sort of grabbing a portion of soup from the freezer, or just, grabbing a piece of bread and butter, for goodness sakes, it's ridiculous. So I'm sure that has contributed to me feeling a bit below par at the moment. And what's really stupid is the times in our lives when we are at our most busy, our most hectic, our most stressed. And I don't mean stressed as in, horrible stress, but stressed as in just the pure physical stress of expecting our bodies to be productive for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. That's the times in our lives when we should be eating at our best. But it's always the case, isn't it? That's one thing that goes out of the window. So I thought today, as part of my... I just need to give myself a bit of a slap in the face, if I'm honest, about my health and about looking after myself, because honestly, I'm always sticking my nose into other people's business and telling them to look after themselves. And I'll make soup for someone. I say, there you go, there's some soup to make you feel better. And then I don't do it for myself. So yeah, I'm having a bit of a cooking day. See, the thing is, when you cook from scratch, things take ages. And if you're doing that 3 times a day for 3 different meals a day, suddenly you're losing 3-4 hours of your working day just on making food. So that's why it ends up going out of the window. But that's why today I'm having a bit of a cooking day amongst other stuff to make sure I've got decent meals for the whole week. I've got a few bits and bobs in the freezer as well. So no excuses for skimping on my food. So I'm making things today based, I've got a lot of tomatoes and beans and all that at home already, and some squash, etc. But the other thing, which I haven't had a lot of recently, is leafy greens. Now, if you remember way back in the summer, I was really worried about my brassicas because 3 sowings. Oh my goodness. But having had a good look through the garden a couple of days ago, I thought, you know what, actually, I'm okay for brassicas. I'm okay. So yeah, let's start really properly scoffing them. So I've come home today with it's like literally an armful of, I brought home today curly kale and cavolo nero. So literally, whatever I'm eating, I'm going to be having greens with it. Jacket potato, greens on the top or to the side, whatever it is, just massively increase my leafy green consumption. So yeah, beautiful harvest to come home with, to combine with the things I've got in store already. So yeah, a bit of a cooking day. They've finished just before I went off to the garden to do some harvesting, but I've done a load of broad beans which need second shelling. I was going to do it on my lap while I was talking to you, but then I thought, no, my head's going to be down the whole time. Now the other thing is sort of that thing of habits and getting out of habits. I used to always start my day with a mug of warm honey and lemon juice with a bit of turmeric. That habit's just disappeared. Don't they say it takes 6 weeks to form a habit, 6 weeks to break a habit? I don't know, but anyway, that habit has completely gone out of the window. So I need to bring that habit back. So I just went and bought a load of lemons. I've got honey, of course. I've got honey from the allotment bees. So it's nice to think that some of that honey has got a bit of my lavender in it. Yay! So, yes, I am going to try to turn over a bit of a new leaf and look after myself. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in food as medicine. If I'm feeling rubbish, I'd always, my first port of call is always going to be try and fix myself by, you know, judicious food selection, as it were. So yeah, I need to get back into good habits with both cooking, eating, the times of day. I mean, I've always been a later in the day eater. And I don't want anyone, please, don't anyone tell me what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. We're all different. We all have different habits and we all have different ways that suit us. You know, we're all individuals. We have to do what's right for us as an individual. I'm going to try and do what's right for me by having a big cook-off today to make sure I've got scrummy food ready and waiting for me all week, so I don't have the excuse of, I've got no time to cook. It's done already. So that's going on today. Oh, and the other thing, just to say very quickly, I'm going to try and share this with you all on my Facebook page. When I was in the garden harvesting earlier, my lovely neighbour Sheena was down also, and she was telling me about a podcast she's been listening to that's all about sort of soil and, I was going to say soil management. Management sounds like quite a lot of interference, doesn't it? But sort of how important for the universe, well, for our planet, how important our soil is and how important it is that we look after it. So I think that'll be a really interesting listen. So I will try to I'll try to put the link for that on my Facebook page. Now, she's, bless her, she sent the link to me on my dumb phone. It doesn't work on my dumb phone. So she's got a smartphone, she's done all that link, and I turn on my message and it says play message. I can't play a message, it doesn't work. Never mind. But that's another thing. I'll have a little bit of ab fab and then I think I'll listen to this podcast because it's so, she said it's quite a long one, but I rarely get the chance to listen to podcasts, especially long ones. Over the years I've listened to a few and some TED talks, that sort of thing, but it's always while I'm doing something else. So actually that might be a perfect thing for me to do this afternoon. Now, excuse me, sorry, annoying levels of mucusness. Now, one thing I won't be having this week is any dairy. The thing is, I don't eat, I don't consume much by way of dairy anyway. I don't drink milk. What other dairy do we have? Yogurts, I don't do yogurts. Eggs, don't do eggs. But you all know I'm a bit of a fan of cheese. Don't have it as often these days, but I do love it. However, I won't be having any this week while I'm so mucousy. But what I will be having soon, I'm going to say a huge thank you now to Lorena, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but she has sent me a set of 3 little truckles. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So there's 3 of these. They're different flavours, as it were. It's by the Snowdonia Cheese Company. And thank you so much, Lorena. They are vegetarian cheeses. Oh, I was so relieved because when I opened the parcel, I got really excited, and then I thought, oh, does she know it needs to be vegetarian cheese? Now, that might sound stupid. To some folk, they might just think, well, of course cheese is vegetarian, it's made from milk. But not all cheeses are, because rennet, which is one of the main things that is used to harden a cheese. So if you think of all your hard cheeses like cheddar and red Leicester, etc., they are hardened with something called rennet, and rennet is made from a cow's stomach. So obviously some cheeses are not veggie. Anyway, these are, so I'm delighted. The Snowdonia Cheese Company, this one is called Green Thunder. And it is a mature cheddar with garlic and herbs. Thank you so much, Lorena. I'm really looking forward to trying these. And I think, because they look so special, don't they? I think I'm going to set them aside. I've checked the use by date. It's absolutely fine. There's months on them. But I think I'm going to set those aside for Christmas as a really special little treat. Probably with a glass of the special treat beer from Gabby. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Now, the other thing I was just going to mention today, keeping half an eye on the time, but also, I just want to reassure everybody as well. I don't have COVID symptoms at all. I have the symptoms of someone who's been working too long and too hard for too long, and I've got a snotty nose and an achy body. That's all. It's a cold. It is not a big deal. I'm not worried at all. I'm just a bit frustrated by feeling so floppy. That's all. And I'm not miserable about it, and I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm just a bit like, oh, I'd rather be in the garden doing something. I have actually I was in the garden yesterday, not with my camera. When are you going to see this? So by the time you see this, you'll have seen my video where I was planting the garlic. Oh, it's so lovely to plant again. I love it, love it, love it. So I did the garlic and I did the broad beans in the cells to go into the cold frame. Well, after you've seen this video, so tomorrow, I'm a bit of a model, you'll see another video which there's all sorts in there, but there's the second part of me doing the broad bean experiment, which is the broad beans directly sown in the open bed. So I've got a bit of a control group going on, plus some continuation of the cold frame experiment. So I hope you'll find that useful. I hope you'll think it's interesting, but more than anything, hopefully over the next few weeks we can find out the results of that experiment together. And it might be too late for you guys this year, but hopefully we'll find out, we'll get that knowledge together so that next year, forewarned is forearmed, isn't it? So yes, having done all those, I then decided to have a day in the garden without the camera. Sometimes I'm just doing really boring, sort of humpy, lumpy work that I just kind of think, oh, I don't know whether you'd be interested to see it, I don't know. But also, I was aware, my washing machine's on spin cycle, can you hear it? It's shaking all my ceramic bowls. The reason it's on today is because having spent days and days and days doing nothing but washing vintage linens, which I'm hoping to get into the shop by the end of this week, when you see this video, yeah, having done all those linens for days and days and days, I didn't have anywhere in the flat to wash and hang out my own laundry. So I'm having a bit of a washing marathon today as well. Oh, it's a proper domestic bliss day, isn't it? Yes, anyway, so as I was saying, I had a day in the garden without the camera. I was aware that I was being really huffy-puffy because I'm feeling so under the weather, not myself. Quite stumbly as well. I think when I'm so tired, I get even more dyspraxic, my dyspraxia comes out more. And I just thought, you know what, I don't want to be worrying about camera angles and shots and me kind of all day. Let's just have a day without the cameras. I didn't do a huge amount, but I did crop and drop and cover my first bed of the winter. I was saying the other day, I'm determined to get the garden wrapped up sooner this year. Oh, I'm so itchy, sorry. I'm determined to get the garden wrapped up earlier this year in terms of emptying and covering the beds, which are going to be fallow all winter. I want to get that done sooner this year, so it's done and out of the way. Then I can focus all my time on my indoor work, which is sewing. I need to get on with the sewing. Literally the way I see it now is November right through to February next year, that is going to be my more than full-time job, is sewing. And the plan will be in terms of the garden. I'll probably have one weekend day down there over the rest of this year and into, heading up towards spring next year. One day at the weekend down there so that I can do some work, but also see my friends, because most people tend to go at the weekend. And then probably during the week, say a half day or even just a morning. See, I call a half day 6 hours, but a morning to me is 3 or 4 hours. So a midweek morning there so that I can do harvesting for my meals that week. I like to do 2 harvests a week. I just think things like the leafy greens and I harvested a load of celery this morning because I'm going to make a big fasolada, which is my gorgeous Greek bean stew that I make with my gigantis beans. So things like the leafy greens and the celery, they just wilt within a couple of days, so I'd rather have them fresher. And then when I have that little morning visit, I'll always find something to do in the garden, so that's when I'll also bring you along with me. So we'll have a lot more indoor videos over the winter, but I'll still try to do at least one garden video each week, because I know for a lot of you who, your gardens get packed up over the winter. I know from comments you've made before, messages I've had before, I know how much you love being able to come to the garden with me in the winter to at least get some sort of gardening fix whilst you can't have yours. I was thinking the other day, actually, I was going to talk about books. I'm not going to talk about books today because actually, I'll go on for half an hour, won't I? I was thinking the other day, wow, if I keep to this schedule I'm on at the moment with the garden's going to be done by the end of October. Stupid girl. I started to make a list, and yes, by the end of October I want to have the beds that are fallow, I want to have them covered, so that's compost, mulch, leaves, whatever on top, then the cardboard. I put the cardboard on top of everything for anyone who hasn't quite figured it yet. Okay, when you see people do their no-dig gardens, they put the cardboard down and then the compost on top. I put the cardboard on top just for the winter, purely to stop, because we do get really, really heavy rains on my site in the winter. The rain horribly compacts my soil, but also it leaches goodness away. So the cardboard think of it as a duvet, and underneath the worms, they're not getting too wet, and they can munch on all that gorgeous compost and mulch I've given them. So yeah, I was thinking, well, that's all going to be done hopefully by the end of October. Done. I've got lots of little odd jobs to do. For instance, oh my goodness, the shed. I didn't get around to painting the shed this year. Right, I need to have a big sort out all around the perimeter of my shed because there's stuff everywhere. Get a good clean out so that as soon as we get to the spring, as soon as temperatures get good enough, I can get that shed sanded down and painted again. I was looking down the side of the shed and I remembered I've got that, it's round, about 2 metres long. I've got that big fence post that I found on the burn pile, I think it was, that I'm going to cut in half and make a new post for my plot number sign, because it's like that. My number sign's almost on the floor. I actually kicked it the other day as I walked down my path, so that needs doing. What else? The tree lily. I'm so nervous about this. Actually, this is a good point. If any of you know about this, please advise. The tree lily has, obviously it's really well established now. You've all seen that each summer with those beautiful blooms that come 2 weeks after my birthday every year. It's thrown up 2 extra trunks. They pretty much are trunks this year. One has come in front of my plot sign and one is right, if that's the path, it's like that. What I don't want is next year for one of them to come up in the path. So what I want to do this winter is lift, that was one bulb originally, is to go down, lift it and divide it. Can I do that? Is that the way we do a tree lily? I'm presuming it's clumped out more bulbs, and that's where these extra trunks have come from. But I really don't know. I've never done it before. So yeah, if you guys know how that works, please let me know. That's another job to get on with. Another job, of course, will be if I can find some sort of receptacle to make a little pond in my herb bed. So that means lifting the rhubarb from my mum, moving it to the deck side, sinking some sort of little pond in. I'd really like to get that done this winter, just before everything starts growing back again. So yeah, there's always some little jobs to do. There's always, in some ways I wish there were more, because I do start to miss the garden in winter. You know what, maybe this winter, here's a thought, I'll wrap up now. Every year has been a year of progress for me down there. Every year has been, I've developed something else and pushed something else along until I'm finally at the stage where, well, I've got all my beds established exactly as I want them. I've moved over now to having my 5 mini perma beds rather than doing the whole bed with the green manure every winter, which was a nightmare. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. Obviously I've got the herb bed established, my fence and deck are established, the shed is established, although it needs a new coat of paint. So maybe this winter, for the first time ever, I can say to myself, do you know what, Vivi? Go to the garden, you're going to do your harvesting anyway, but just go and sit. Just go and sit there for 2 hours. Just sit and stare at it. Wouldn't that be a delicious treat? That's jolly well what I'm going to do. I have to wrap up warm. Now, you see, the thing is, in this shed, I do keep a massive stack of blankets, so I can always get myself nice and warm. And mostly, our winters are fairly mild anyway. So yes, that's what I shall do this winter. I shan't necessarily bring the camera. I don't think you would appreciate a 2-hour video of me just sitting and staring. Maybe some folk would. Anyway, hopefully, oh, excuse me, hopefully in the next couple of days this will dissipate. I will start to feel better for having some gorgeous food, get back on track with my gorgeous food, fill myself up with yumminess and goodness, and get myself back out to the garden pronto. There will be a garden video after this one, and I do have plans for the garden for this coming week. I can't remember what they are now off the top of my head. Honestly, these days, this is why I do lists, because I'm sitting here talking to you and I have not got a clue what my plan is for the garden this week. I know, I've just remembered. Yeah, more of that next time. All right, my lovelies, just a quick catch up today. Yes, go and eat something good. Make yourself better. I will see you all again really soon. I'll see you tomorrow back in the garden for phase 2 of the broad bean experiment. Oh, and a lovely visit to Mark and Mon's plot. Just a quick little visit, and a really, really interesting seed he's giving me. Actually, a seedling. He's got little plants. I've never heard of them. I can't imagine it working, but I'm going to give it a go because they're spare seedlings. I've got space for them, so I'm jolly well going to give them a go. More of that tomorrow. All right, lovelies, please look after yourselves. Please look after yourselves better than I've been looking after me. I've learned my lesson the hard way. I'll start looking after myself a bit better. Please be assured of that. So, until tomorrow, have fun whatever you're up to. Look after yourselves. Get into your gardens if you can, and if you can't, get in the kitchen and make some yumminess. Make some medicine in a pot. Lovely. See you soon. Bye for now.